guys, this is Crystal and welcome to my first behind the scenes production diary / vloggy video. I really like these sorts of behind the scenes videos, like being able to look into people's musical processes and how they write songs and stuff. It's always really interesting to me, so I've always wanted to do one. And this is me doing it. I recently released an EP of original tracks. I'm gonna link it into the description box down below where you can stream it and download it. It's available on all those places where music is sold. But I just wanted to talk to you guys about my production process and everything, because like I said, I find it really interesting. Overall, the concept for A Warrior's Heart, originally I had written a song back in like 2015 and it was just legit called A Warrior's Heart. So I got album art 2 years ago or so, 2015, 2014, to just release the single out on like Spotify and all that stuff through Sounddrop. I think back then it was Louder, but yeah, through Sounddrop or something like that. And I just kind of never wound up doing it. Back in the day, I didn't have any like virtual instruments or anything for like accessibility reasons. Reaper wasn't available to me in a way that I could personally use it until recently. And just because there were some like there were some abandonware scripts of Reaper that I know people use them, but I never really got the hang of using them. It just didn't really click in my brain. But there are some scripts that are usable for me now with my current screen readers, so I decided to take the dive into using Reaper now. Like a few months ago is when I started using Reaper, so I remember the first thing I mixed in Reaper, but I don't remember when it came out. I'd have to go like double check. But yeah, back in the day I didn't have access to like VSTs. I didn't have a keyboard, which at the time now I find using a MIDI controller and a keyboard a lot better than like manually entering MIDI. Like, I manually enter it for drums, but that's kind of about it. It's kind of a hassle, and I learned how to do that through the process of making this EP. So before I was like, it's so hard to use the piano roll in Reaper. So I learned a lot of things when I made this EP. Like, I learned how to use the piano roll in a decent fashion. I learned how to like copy and paste certain sections that I knew were going to repeat throughout the entire thing in Reaper 2. Like I said, there was just a lot of a learning process in making these EPs. But that aside, yeah, I originally had a version of A Warrior's Heart that was it's on my channel. Actually, I'll link that too. But it's just all a cappella because that was what I had available to me at the time, and I wanted to be able to write original music. So I was like, well, just all a cappella because this is like what I have in my head. It's what I'm going to put down on paper right now. I'm big into using what you got, so I had my voice, so I made it all a cappella. I think at the time I didn't have any like physical instruments or virtual instruments, so I took like beads from my drawer. I used that as the tambourine. What did I do for another track? I have wooden drawers, and I pulled it out, I emptied it out, flipped it upside down, and used it as a drum. So that's like the stuff I used to do back in the day. My shakers were like a bottle of chia seeds or coffee grounds. It depended on the sort of shaker sound I wanted. I think I've used a jar of like oats, like oatmeal oats. I think my go-to was chia seeds in a little jar though. That was the one that I used to use, and then the beads and everything. So that was pretty much how I used to make music back in the day. It was all a cappella, and I don't know why, because I was probably a little self-conscious of my music and stuff at the time. I just wound up not releasing A Warrior's Heart. So recently, now that I've been arranging music like with VSTs and my keyboard and stuff for about a year now, which is kind of crazy to think of. But yeah, recently I was like, I should go redo A Warrior's Heart, and another track that I did around the same time, maybe a year later, that I did also all a cappella. And then after that, I was like, well, I have the album art already, so why don't I just do A Warrior's Heart again, do Soldiers of the Night again, and then I decided to just like add 2 more songs about warriors since the album was called A Warrior's Heart. I just figured one of the tracks would be called A Warrior's Heart, but also the overarching concept of this album is going to be 4 songs about different types of warriors. And that wouldn't have happened if I didn't just like have the art that said A Warrior's Heart on it, so I guess I preempted myself like 2 years in the past. Ooh. But no, that's the concept that I had for this album. So A Warrior's Heart and Soldiers of the Night are both old tracks from like 2015, 2016 around abouts. And the other 2, You Think Yourselves Gods, and the singers are 2 that I wrote specifically for this album. And it's kind of interesting to me. I hear a difference in my, like, it's still the same style, but I think there's definitely a difference in the quality of the instrumentation, if that makes sense, comparing. I like them all, but I feel like it's kind of nice to be able to see how I grew from writing songs then to writing songs now. I know there were a lot of things that I had to tweak and fix throughout the process, so it was it's taken me about 2 months to get these all out, and there's even a song that I didn't put on the album that I just couldn't finish to my up to the quality I would have liked it to be, so it's still around. I'm still going to work on it. Like, I think sometimes it's important to step away from something you're doing and just have a new perspective on it, and I replaced that song with the singers on this album because the singers came together really easily, and this one that I still have, I'm gonna go back and work on again. I want to like retweak the lyrics and stuff. I just didn't really think it was up to par for the EP, and I would have probably been like, is it really that good if I had put it on the album? But onto the individual songs. Well, first let me go into a little bit of backstory, because it's kind of important to Soldiers of the Night and You Think Yourselves Gods. Like, I had, back in the day, originally, I'm like a writer. I write fanfics. I've written a bunch of novels that'll never see the light of day that are very fantasy themed. I've always wanted to be a writer. All of my life I wanted to be a writer, and that kind of translated over to me writing lyrics and writing songs and stuff. But originally I thought a good idea to get my creative juices flowing is to write an outline, like a plot outline for a world building outline for a world that I could write songs in. That was kind of like a fantasy Skyrim, Dragon Age, Lord of the Rings sort of fantasy world where there were like different guilds. I remember there were different guilds. I think I still have the document on my computer, but I haven't looked at it in a while. But I remember there were different guilds, and one of them was a mercenary guild. And that's how I got the Soldiers of the Night song. It was going to be like, oh, this is the Mercenary Guild's anthem, and they're the Soldiers of the Night. And the You Think Yourselves Gods was going to be an Amazon guild. I changed it into something completely different. Like, the overall song evolved a lot. But my original draft of it was going to be like, it's an Amazon guild, and they go fight evil and stuff like that. They're fighting evil by moonlight. But I did that, and I really only got Soldiers of the Night out of the outline. It didn't super work. Like, I have other drafts of songs that were supposed to take place in that universe, but I just never did anything with them. It wasn't really that great. But the You Think Yourselves Gods is pretty, kind of inadvertently became part of that universe. I didn't realize it at the time. I just was writing a story, and it kind of came out that way. But yeah, so originally that outline is what spawned the Soldiers of the Night, and I wanted Soldiers of the Night to be like a real like tavern sounding song. It hasn't super changed since the like first iteration of it. It didn't change at all. I changed one line in the chorus, but other than that, I added strings to to give some more of a weight and thickness to the all a cappella vocals, and then I used a shaker and an actual claves. So, but like, oh, the harp is new. The harp that's in the chorus is new as well. But yeah, I didn't really change anything else in Soldiers of the Night. And like I said, the You Think Yourselves Gods song was originally going to be like the Amazon Guild going about their way and stopping people and stuff, but then it kind of turned into something completely different. Like, I had the verses done, but the choruses were kind of like less impactful, I think. So I kind of tweaked that. I made it a more of a story than like, I don't even know what it was going to be originally, but I remember the chorus was not going to be as like calling out the opposing party in the song as it was gonna be. It was just gonna be like, oh, they're gonna journey and they're gonna stop the bad guys and stuff like that. But I'm glad that I made the chorus the way it was because I like it a lot. It was fun to sing. A Warrior's Heart was, no, it wasn't the first song I've ever written. I think it was like, it was pretty close. I think it was like the fourth or fifth song I've ever written, I think. And the way that one came about was that I just I had the lines. I came up with the lines. This bond will never be broken, the story never untold. And I originally was going to write it about like finding out that, like, getting over a loss in your life or something. But then it turned into a fantasy song. I feel like I just got the idea in my head. I was brainstorming ideas. I usually write them down on a Word doc. And I was like, let's make this song about like a woman who falls in love with a knight. The chorus is what I came up with first. So it was just I came up with 2 extra lines for the chorus for this iteration of it. So the original chorus was, as this bond will never be broken, the story never untold. I gave my love to a warrior's heart, his heart I gotta control. But yeah, that was originally what it was. And then I had a few different versions of how I wanted it to end. I got the idea to either make it like the maiden cursed the guy who left her, or the other version was going to be that the knight and the maiden fall in love, they get married, but then the knight feels like incomplete in his life because he didn't get to fulfill his destiny. But like none of the things that I had in mind were like good, really. They were all bittersweet endings. But I think how it came out is a lot better than how it would have. Like, I think the one I was gonna go with was actually the knight marrying the woman anyways. So I'm glad I didn't go with that, because I kind of like the way it came out better. I think the message of the song is better, like, don't pine over love, that some yours, don't force love on people, cause love is a two-way street, and stuff like that. But yeah, the instrumentation for that one stayed the same. I had my percussion beads in that one in the original version. But I pulled them out because I thought the harpsichord that I used in this newer version sound kind of better as the bass aspect of it all. But other than that, I think I added the viola. I added double strings near the end, and everything else is pretty much the same. I have the ending a little better. The ending tapers off a little longer, and I had the background vocals weren't in the original. So yeah, but like really, really minor differences. The singers is an interesting one because I came up with it really quickly. Like, at that time, I wasn't going to nix the song that was originally going to be on the EP, but I also wasn't really digging how it was coming out. So I was just kind of relaxing over the weekend, and the melody for the singers came into my head. And I was like, oh, I really like that a lot. And originally it wasn't even going to be about the singers from the Old Testament in the Bible. It was going to be about Solomon from the Old Testament in the Bible. I think the original first line was going to be like this tales about a king who looked for wisdom and for guidance. but I wrote that down and I drew a blank as to how to continue it. And I really like the story of the singers in the Bible. And it's probably one of my favorite Old Testament stories, so I just decided to change the king I was writing about. And the lyrics came out really easily. Like, I tweaked a few things here and there, but I think I tweaked the last 2 verses, but that one came out really quickly. Even the instrumentation, I think I did in like 2 days. I finished that song in a week. And it was the first time that I used my VST drums in, so that was cool. That was the first one that I manually added them in through the piano roll, and I kind of learned how I like adding drums, because until then, I kept on trying to add drums first, and it just didn't really work for me. I always either added too many drums or didn't get the timing right or something. So instead of doing the drums first, I did the drums last, and with the instrumentation to go off of, I was able to put the timing for the drums that I wanted in there, so it works out really well for me. I'm really happy that I figured out how to do that and how I like to do things, because there's always stuff out there in the internet that's like, you should do it this way, and this is the way everybody does it. But you really need to figure out how you like to do things. Because, like, yeah, I've never seen anything that says, put in your drums last. They're always like, do your drums first, because that's the driving beat. But in my head, the driving beat that I can work off of the best is like our arpeggiated chords usually. Like the main melody of the background, if that makes sense, is what I work off of the best. And I feel like that comes from being a vocalist first and foremost, because I like to add harmonies and stuff. I like to be able to hear, the chords and see what I can stack on top of that, like a puzzle. So just having everything done, I think I literally had everything done, like the vocals and everything too, and then I added the drums because it's easier for me to hear my vocals and use that as the beat that my drums are gonna be against. So yeah, that's the way I figured out how to use drums. But yeah, it's really important to figure out how you want to do things, because like I said, there's so much information out there and they'll tell you to do all these things, but at the end of the day, you do what you want to do. That's it for my video about the A Warrior's Heart EP. If you'd like to take a listen to it, I'm going to link the streaming links down below and the links where you can purchase it down below. There's also going to be some songs going up on here later from the EP, so be on the lookout for that. But I hope you guys check it out on like Spotify and stuff like that, because I'm really happy with how it came out, so I hope you guys enjoy it. And I hope you guys also enjoyed this behind the scenes vlog. Like I said in the beginning, I like doing these a lot, so there'll definitely be more in the future, and I hope you enjoyed this vlog. I hope you enjoy the EP, and have an awesome day. Bye!